Good morning and welcome to 59 Minutes. My name is Levi Kones. This morning we're going to be having a discussion about positioning the entrepreneur. And to join me is a lady who is a budding entrepreneur herself. She's the founder of SORANO Organics. Her name is Rosette MOMANYI. Karibu sana.
Asante sana, Levis. Thanks for having me.
Glad to have you here.
Asante. I'm very, very honored.
Yeah. You know, so many people want to become entrepreneurs.
Do they?
Kwanza, now we are at the end of the year. Do you know that is one of the top 10 New Year resolutions? Nitakuwa mfanyabiashara wa kibinafsi.
This will be my year.
This will be my year. I'll start this business, I'll do this. And there are some businesses that have been lying dormant for years, just on paper, in ideas, in people's heads.
I know.
Tell me about your particular journey.
Oh, it's a long one. It's a long one, to be very honest. I'm one of those people who kept saying, this is my year. So first started off in corporate for about 13 years.
Yeah.
And excelled. I actually did well.
Yeah.
And in those 13 years, I was an executive assistant stroke business manager.
You are a banker.
I was a banker, mainly in the financial industry. I was in banking most of the time. I also did insurance at some point in between those 13 years, but still the same role. But deep down, I always knew.
So you got a job quick, right out of university, I'm sure.
Was it quick? It was, yes, it was. I was pretty aggressive. I started looking for jobs when I was in my 4th year. I remember going back to my mom's house in Kisii and asking her for my CV and picking all my documents. She didn't even know. So by the time I was graduating, actually, I was already working at the bank.
What were you studying for at that point in time?
Education, believe it or not, meaning madam.
I tell you.
Yeah.
Aki, you know, do you know I tell people, it's so interesting. I'm here, but I did clinical medicine.
You see, I mean, what we do in school.
Here we are.
Here we are. Yeah, I did education.
Yeah.
But then, luckily, I think any degree in Kenya can just open doors for you. So education, taking kids to school is still very important because courtesy of that, I went into banking, doing an admin role, obviously. And then eventually that shaped my career throughout the corporate world. And it's something I really enjoyed doing. Yeah. But then deep down, it wasn't so much the job that I didn't like. It's just so much that I felt like I could do more with myself. Yeah.
You know, in this country, first of all, getting a job is very difficult.
Very difficult.
And then when you do get a job, people tend to tell you things like, you know, even when it's going a bit hard, familiar, hang in there, because jobs are hard to get.
In fact, I used to feel embarrassed to even voice my own thoughts to people because I would almost even convince myself that I'm ungrateful. You know,
how can you be dissatisfied now?
Unhappy, you know? And I'm in employment, and good jobs are that. I had very good employers. So for the longest time, I really toyed with that for so long. Until now, my last employer, when they did a retirement package plan. So I did my math and I told myself, if this package can last me a year, this is my time. I really need to try because this voice is getting louder and louder by the year. So I decided, okay, I didn't even have a clue what I really wanted to do. So I decided I'm going to package what I was doing in corporate, come out and give it to the world. Because I said, in the near future, admin roles are going to probably be extinct the more we digitize. So I said, okay, let me go out and do virtual assistance as opposed to now being employed and offer these same services. Because this is what I knew how to do. I mean, I'd been doing this for 13 years. So I did that in 2019. And I think because I'd created very good networks, it started working. Honestly, I started making money right off my first month of employment. Not much, but then it showed me that there was potential. So I quickly ramped up, you know, opportunities, talking to people. I had this pipeline. I'm doing events. I'm doing people's travel plans, and
so you've gotten out of work. You've taken this package. What have you started? What was your first gig? What was your thing?
My first gig I had, incidentally, because of the good networks I had, I got a rapporteur job to sit in a meeting and take notes and reports, and it was an IGAD function which was being hosted in the CBD. So courtesy of my network, somebody called me and told me, Rosette, I know you're now out here and I know your quality of your services, come help us out. So I thought, wow, I could do this for a living, this is nice. But then incidentally, Levi, I still used to go home and feel not fulfilled. I'm like, why do I feel like I've brought the office into my house?
Yeah.
Then I realized
you're doing the same thing again.
I'm doing the same thing again, only that now it's not behind a desk in an office setup, but it's behind a desk in my house. You understand? So, but then I still convinced myself, this is what I need to do. But fortunately or unfortunately, Corona happened, because this was in 2019. I left in August 2019. So you can imagine quickly, March 2020, Corona. One day, literally, I go to bed, wake up, and there's a ban on events, there's a ban on travels. These are the things I was really focusing on.
Do you feel like I made a mistake?
Coming out. At that point,
no, at that point in time, do you think like, oh my goodness?
At that point, I'm regretting off my back, because I'm looking at everyone else who's still in employment. They still have a check. Now I don't. Now reality hits me. I mean, there's no income coming in. All the things I came out to do that I know how to do, I can't do anymore. And there's no timeline. We don't know when this thing is gonna, the ban is gonna be lifted. Now we're sitting.
Well, those announcements used to be, oh, we are extending.
Exactly.
We are extending.
Yeah. So right off then, I had my first, in a baptism, right?
By fire,
Suddenly now I'm really, really jobless. Jobless, the bills are glaring, and I'm thinking to myself, what do I do? So I found myself selling food, literally hawking. Like I would go to the markets, I started advertising online. I would go to the market, shop, put up a markup, and then do home-to-home deliveries. I would go to farms, get onions. That's what I really did for a bit. Come supply supermarkets. I would actually take to open air markets very early in the morning, as soon as the curfew used to be lifted at about 4. So I would be at the market by 4:30 to catch the mama mbogas, so that, because I was a wholesaler. But then I realized on market days there was a lot of traffic. So after I did my wholesale in the morning, I would hang around and also start now doing the retail with this mama mboga. So I hung out with them for about 4 or 5 months, and I learned a lot from those women. A lot.
Wow, what pushed you there to that kind of thought?
Because I think I used to be there every morning, and then
because it wasn't really your field.
It wasn't my field.
You know.
What pushed me into
that's very interesting, you know.
Yeah, what pushed me into that is because I shop I do my bulk kitchen shopping from the open air market, because it's fresh, very, very fresh, and it's affordable. Yeah. And then I thought to myself, within the estate where I lived, most people were now indoors. The only other thing that people had to use or consume was food. Yeah. So I thought to myself, every time I went to the market or I would go with my nanny, why not come and package this? If I put it online, I start slowly within the networks around me. I started with friends, my neighbors, and then I realized the margins were not too bad. So then I put it online, I started sponsoring ads, and it picked. It picked, and it really, honestly, I survived on that for about 4 or 5 months. You would call it. Honestly, I think we should never pick, and I've learned not to underestimate any hustle. Because literally those ladies make good money. Yeah.
Is it very, very intense in terms of like the work you put in, the sheer amount of physical work?
Intense. It is hard work. It is hard work. I had to source, because now as I grew my network in that space, I realized there's a gap. I mean, you could supply supermarkets, these green grocers near homes. So then I started going to farms, because now I had networks of people who would supply me with these fruits, vegetables, onions. Then I started now going to Kajiado outside of, I even got that pass for...
Oh, hiyo ya cross counties.
Yeah, cross counties. Paka hiyo
nilipata. Kulifika. That one was for, what were they called? Essential service providers.
Essential service providers. Yes. I even had that pass, because now I was going to the farms to go look for onions, and then I could come and supply. I think the one thing I learned during that period, I learned my potential. I realized there's so much within me that I didn't know existed. When push comes to shove, Levi, you will do anything to survive. You will not sleep.
You know, the English say that, you don't know the potency of a tea bag.
Yeah, you don't
until you put it in hot water.
Until you put it in hot water. When push comes to shove, you will do anything to survive. And at that point, I needed to survive.
Wow. So 4 or 5 months, then what? Why did you get out? If it's working, they say if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Manze, it was hectic. I wouldn't.
Kuchoka?
Kuchoka, man. And it's heavy lifting. It's a lot of heavyweight. And I think it's important to also know what you enjoy doing. I did it to survive, and I do not look at it condescending. It's a job that fed me.
Yeah.
It's a job that gave me a hustle that I learned a lot while at it. Most of those lessons I've picked, believe it or not, they've really helped me in my current hustle.
Yeah.
They've really, really.
No, I'm hearing something from you, and I'm hearing actually.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah, it helped you. It got you from one place to another.
Yeah.
But it wasn't really an enjoyable thing to do.
It wasn't enjoyable.
And you know, the best money you can make is the one where you like doing what you're doing.
Something you enjoy doing. Something you enjoy doing. So during that time, because now I was mainly advertising online. So one of a good family friend, he probably would be watching today, Shahir, shout out to you. So he does beauty. He's based out in Dubai, but he partners with manufacturers in the US. So he has distributorships within East Africa, East and Central Africa, I believe, and then and Dubai. So he reached out to me because this is somebody I've known all my life pretty much. And he said, have you ever thought of beauty? I told him, no, not really. He said, I see how you're aggressive online. If you could, I'm willing to give you, I'm not going to pressure you into stocking up like huge whatever. I'm willing to start with you, whatever you're able to stock up. Start slowly. The same way you're aggressively advertising online. Just give it a try, because beauty can really boost your whatever, your hustle. So I thought about it, and it was on the back burner. I was still doing these supplies.
Yeah.
So I told him fine, because he was willing to, there was no pressure of numbers, you must take this minimum order quantity. He was willing to work with me. Yeah. So I told him, okay, fine. And he actually told me, I'm sending you the first package for free.
Because you know what?
Test in the market.
Let me just tell you, when we hear beauty most of the time, we worry because we are used to that whole multi-level marketing stuff.
Exactly.
You know,
for me it was
ingiza watu tano,
exactly. For me it was the mentality that beauty is saturated in the market. How am I gonna find my space? You understand? And then also, and I love that he gave me an opportunity to experience that, but I did it as a side hustle. I still went on supplying. I still jumped from that venture into another venture with my friend, a very good friend of mine, who's still doing it, pots business, the whatever, clay pots. Yeah. I still jumped onto that while doing beauty as a side hustle. But then, believe it or not, this thing picked so fast, I ended up telling my friend, hey, I can't do both.
I'm busy.
I'm busy. Here's the pots, please carry on. Very nice, beautiful venture. Let me focus, there's something here. But then as I focused here, I remembered, not really remembered.
At this point in time, you are selling products.
Yes.
That are, primarily your friends.
My friends, we were shipping in from the US. But then, incidentally, now that I look back, I have always been, I'm brought up in an SD background. Yeah. My mom used to give us miti shamba. My mom used to put aloe vera in my lotion when I was growing up. Oh, yeah. Because I had breakouts on my face, my mom used to give us shea butter, put aloe vera there, put all these oils and stuff like that. And incidentally, when I was home for holidays, those things would work. But then, of course, when you go to school, you're embarrassed to carry these miti shambas. Oh, yeah. So you go to the supermarket and buy what everyone else is buying. Yeah. So deep down, I've always known organic works. And personally, in my own capacity, I do this in my house. So I would sell these products, but I would not use them. In my house, I'm doing concoctions of organic beauty products. And that's what I've always used my entire life. So when I started getting into beauty and I started seeing that the market is open, I mean, I can compete. It's not saturated, this space for everybody. I started telling myself, what if I went into manufacturing? But it sounded like such a, it's not for me. I thought, I can't.
How do you manufacture even?
How do I manufacture? How do I start? Because I was selling products, but I was still feeling like this is not me. This is not my identity. My identity is in organics. So slowly I still sold, and then I started researching. Nikaanza research, talking to people. Incidentally, in the same networks, I happened to mention to a lady, a very senior lady, who was a client previously, that I feel like I want to do manufacturing, but I don't know where to start, because unfortunately, we don't go to school being taught how to be an entrepreneur.
No.
Or where to start.
Let alone a manufacturer.
Let alone a manufacturer. So for me, it sounded crazy even in my own mind, thinking that I would want to go into manufacturing.
Actually, our schools are geared towards making us work for people.
Making us work. And I think that's a big gap, because there's so many brilliant minds with so many brilliant ideas, but where to start, people don't know. So I was in that same space. Just luckily, this lady, she asked me, so what do you want to do about that? And I didn't even know she had, because she wasn't even in my field. It was just a client I was chatting to. And she said, I told her I want to go to Kirdi. I hear the government has a facility where you can either be taught or, you know, be taken through how to be a manufacturer. And they told me, yeah, that's a good place to start. But there's also a guy I know who's helped a few people to set up their own business. Is an organic biochemist from the University of Nairobi. He's a graduate, and this is what he does. In fact, most of my oils I get from him. I'm like, oh, okay. Get his contact, have a chat. You never know, he can guide you on how to do this. Long story short, I met him. We sat down. It ended up being like a 6-hour meeting because, you know, have you ever met somebody who's so aligned in vision? I mean, this guy is so brilliant in formulation, in manufacturing. What he didn't have is the market knowledge. He knows how to do the oils and everything. And I had the market knowledge. So I was telling him, if you can do value addition to these same oils and help me solve A, B, C, D needs in the market, I think we have a very good partnership. And that's how SORANO Organics was born.
Yeah, I want to know what the name means. But let me pause you. We're going to take a quick break.
Yeah.
We'll be right back. We are speaking to Rosette MOMANYI on positioning the entrepreneur. Do not go away. We'll be right back.
This Christmas, enjoy thrilling new drama series.
You've never been good